Niners fans, it's about that time, 7:15 on a Monday night. Faithful Niner Empire. What's good? You know who it is. It's your boy, Jay in the Bay. Woo! What a turn of events. Faithful, man. I know we were not expecting this. I know a lot of 49er fans were not expecting the news that we will discuss today. But Jimmy G is back with the Niner Empire. Some love it, some hate it. We'll definitely get into that tonight. But it is a special show. It is a special show. I do have a guest who will be on with me tonight. Niner Gang podcast. He will be on with me tonight. Huge shout out to everyone watching Jay in the Bay Facebook, Jay in the Bay YouTube, Jay in the Bay Twitter. This is a interactive show, so make sure you leave your thoughts in them comments. I would love to hear what everyone thinks about what we're going to talk about tonight. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you subscribe. Let's bring on our guests. We have 9ergang podcast. He's got about 389 subscribers on his YouTube channel. Let's increase his followers up tonight. And let's bring on 9ergang podcast. What's good? How you doing tonight, man? How you doing on this August night?
My day has been slapped with the damper there, man. But it's good to be on with you, good brother. You know what I'm saying? Nothing but love to you. Love the consistency of the channel and the progression that you're going through, man. All I have is kind words. Continue to be great. Continue to be fantastic. And let nothing stop you. No matter what nobody says, you are fantastic. You are great. You are worthy of the faithful being able to tune in. So continue to keep rocking, bro.
Hey, man, I appreciate that. I appreciate those words, man. I appreciate that a lot. YouTube is definitely a grind. All the content creators know it. But man, we were dealt with some interesting news, to say the least, today. We got to talk about first the breaking news that came out, and that is that the 49ers have waived cornerback Ken Crawley and offensive lineman Donovan West. I know that's what y'all tuning in for. We got to talk about these two gentlemen.
You got to talk about. I mean, we really thought Donovan West was possibly going to be a starting center.
Exactly. I thought he was
going to with the way that Ken Crawley played. We thought he was going to beat out Andrew Thomas for a spot.
Exactly, man.
Who knew?
But we gotta put that news out first, because the 49ers cuts are continuing. 49ers have to get down to about 53 players tomorrow, 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So just to get that out the way, and these players, they can be brought back on the practice squad. But for right now, they're not going to make the 53-man active roster. And as I said before, this is an interactive show. Of course, Jimmy G is back with the 49ers. Now, what are your initial thoughts when you first heard, wherever you heard it, I'm sure on social media somewhere, Jimmy G has restructured his contract. So he's no longer making $27 million. He structured it back down to about 6.5 million, I believe. He's got a 500,000 some type of bonus, roster bonus or whatever. He'll most likely get that. His contract can get up to $16 million if he starts a certain amount of games. I think most Niner fans want Trey Lance to start. As long as he's healthy, he's progressing. I think we can all agree with that. But I think the Niners do have a great insurance policy in Jimmy G. But hey, the Niners get a great backup. They decrease his salary by more than 2/3. What was your reaction, 49er Dion? I'd love to know, man.
Okay, so for everybody out there watching, man, I'm pretty sure y'all seen Ace Ventura. And you remember the moment when he figured out that Lieutenant Einhorn was a guy, and he went home. He sucked his face with the plunger. He squirted toothpaste all in his mouth, and then he burned his clothes. He got in the shower and he cried. And all you heard was the song, "Do you really want to hurt me? Do you really want to make me cry?" That's exactly what was playing in my head. Those were my feelings. Those were my emotions. When I came across my phone after getting off work and seeing that the 49ers had made a mistake yet again in wasting time with giving this man anything. I'm sorry. I look at it like this. He just never did enough. Okay, I can tell you this: 4-2 in the playoffs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can we agree he never won any of those games?
Let's see, 2019. Yeah.
Nope.
We pretty much took the ball out of his hands during the
Yeah.
2019 to run the ball. Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
And then when you come in here to this year, what happened? Took the ball out of his hands again. Didn't really do much. I mean, he's the only quarterback with a 4-2 playoff record that looks like it should actually just be 0-6.
He did make some plays against the Rams. You know, there were times where he drove us down the field. And one underrated thing about Jimmy is, yeah, he'll throw that interception, but he has a short memory, so it doesn't really affect him. He's still willing to go out and throw the rock. By this news today, I don't think anything really changed with Trey. Trey is still the starter. I still think Trey should start every game this year as long as he's healthy. Jimmy should only come in if we're up 34-0, fourth quarter, 5 minutes left. All right, Jimmy, go ahead in there. But other than that, Trey should start every game as long as he's healthy. And I think this is just Jimmy is an emergency, basically backup. That's what I take this as. Let me say what's up to a few people in the comments. We got Sam Bell in the building. What's good? We also have Payo Time who says, welcome back, Jimmy. I think he means to say that's your quarterback. What's good? What's good, Payo? We also have John J, aka the 49ers Ultimate Report. How you doing, man? What's good? Appreciate you tuning in the stream tonight. Payo Time says, what does Jimmy have to gain with this restructured contract? So, what do you think? Yeah, why would Jimmy and his representation agree to a contract restructure? Why do you think that is?
Here's the thing, and this might be a little long-winded, but I'm going to try to shorten it as much as possible. So we draft Trey Lance. We call Jimmy. We give him the courtesy. Hey, Jim, you're an often injured quarterback. We're not liking what we're seeing. We're going to go ahead and draft a guy. Jimmy says, all right, cool. Kyle comes out, makes it very clear. Jimmy is the starter. No questions, no ifs, ands, or buts. We go through the season. Jimmy has a phantom injury versus the Seahawks. Trey comes in, looks pretty good. First touchdown of the season. Trey looked pretty good when he threw that to Trish Sherfield. Not too much of an issue. Texas game. We don't win that game. We don't make the playoffs, do we, Jay?
Right.
No, we don't. Who did that? Trey Lance. But you know what also happened during the season? The guys in the locker room said, hey, man, you know, this in and out with Trey Lance, we don't like it. You know, we want to keep Jimmy in there. It's messing with his leadership, his continuity. He's not able to get into a rhythm. So what does Kyle do? He says, okay, I'll listen to my guys. We're going to just keep Jimmy going. Then the offseason rolls around. The last time we saw Jimmy Garoppolo, he was getting sacked and throwing an interception. So the offseason comes along. Jimmy says, you know what? My shoulder's messed up. Might as well have surgery. So you know what that does? That's a big FU to the 49ers. You know why? Because you just tanked your trade value, sir. You've destroyed it. So instead of at that time using their brains and going, hey, why don't we restructure the guy so it makes it a little easier for us to move him? No, we're not going to restructure him. We're just going to wait for someone to call. Newsflash. Nobody called. Fast forward to now, and now you think it's the day before final cuts, it's a good time to restructure your deal because, as it has been reported all summer long, all off season, no team is taking a quarterback that limited with that amount of money on the books. You're not going to pay him $27 million. You're going to pay him whatever you feel. And it was said that he was giving free reign to restructure his contract and go wherever he so choose. So why did we restructure his contract? Why did we give him $6.5 million in money he didn't earn? He's done nothing for us this year. He's done nothing for us in OTAs. He's done nothing for us in training camp. He will do nothing for us this year.
Well, the 49ers didn't want him. The 49ers didn't want him to basically be there.
But my thing is, if you didn't want him, why re-sign him? If I
Because
don't want,
it's a bargain deal.
I'm
It's
telling
a
you right
bargain
now,
deal.
if I don't want somebody on my team, I'm cutting them. I'm not giving them no money to sit on the bench and do nothing. What is Jimmy? My thing is, what is Jimmy really giving me throughout all this time he's been here that says I owe him anything?
Well,
I don't owe you
he's
$6.5
giving you
million.
he's given you 2 NFC championship appearances. We've been to the Super
Nope.
Bowl with him. I
Nope.
know that fans believe that Jimmy did nothing in helping this team be successful, which is just, I mean, that doesn't make any sense. If that
I
was the
won't say he
case,
did. I won't say he did nothing, but he never
right.
did enough.
He wasn't good enough to get us number 6. I agree with that. He wasn't good enough, and that's why we made the decision to go after Trey Lance. And I think keeping Jimmy as a backup for $6.5 million, you get an experienced guy. Obviously, he knows the offense. Nobody wants Jimmy to be there. I don't want him to start any games. I hope he doesn't. If he doesn't, that means Trey is healthy. That means Trey is playing well. That's what I'm hoping for. But I think this is great insurance. And as you eloquently put it, there are no teams who are interested in Jimmy. Jimmy didn't have that many options. So I think it was smart for him to restructure his contract. And clearly he still wants to be with the Niners to a certain extent. And the feelings are mutual between Kyle and John. I think there's a lot of Jimmy fatigue out there, and I totally get it. I understand that. But when you just look at it from a business standpoint, Jimmy G, and just from a ability standpoint, Jimmy G is better, more experienced than Sudfeld and Brock Purdy. I don't think there's any really debating that. Now, the effect that it has on Trey Lance with Jimmy G behind him, that's a whole nother topic we can definitely get into, because obviously that's going to affect him. But let me acknowledge real quick this super sticker. I appreciate that. John J, 49ers Ultimate Report. Appreciate that, man. But let's go into that. The effect. Do you think with Jimmy G behind Trey Lance, will that affect Trey Lance negatively? What are your thoughts on that?
My idea is that it will, and the reason being is the fact that this young man does not need to have anything impeding his progress. From what I understand, he's been told it's Trey's team. Here's the issue with that. You listen to the guys in the locker room last year. What happens if Trey goes out and he doesn't have the best of games? He has a couple of bumps in the road, which are to be expected because technically speaking, he's a rookie. He's never really played. He's only had about 2 games worth of football at a max. So you go out there, he has a couple of games, but he's just not looking right. You know what happens in that locker room? Jimmy's still here. We were winning with him. We can go ahead and put him back in. Come on, coach. You listened to us last year. Why not listen to us this year? And here's my problem. You know what's going to start? Another stupid media frenzy. Now, all you're going to hear is about Jimmy and Trey. Jimmy and Trey. And you know what you're going to hear when you go up to the podium? Instead of them asking us about the game, what's going to happen? The first interview they get since this has happened, what are they going to do? Well, how do you feel about Jimmy? Jimmy. It's like he's a cancer that won't go away, and it drives me insane. I don't want our season to be marred with questions about a quarterback who does not matter. And this is going to happen. Mark my words. Every time, because the people that write for us and the reporters that come for us are suckers. They're chumps. I'm sorry. They don't ask hard questions. The only person who asks hard questions is Grant Cohn. And I lost respect for him after the Javon Kinlaw debacle. But that's what they're going to do. They're going to go, well, hey, how do you feel about Jimmy still being here? How about this? How about Jimmy? Here's Jimmy. There's Jimmy. It's going to keep going. Instead of them saying
all players have to do is say, I'm not talking about Jimmy Garoppolo. I'm talking about. Well, you don't have to answer that question.
They won't. But they won't because why? He's a likable guy. From what I hear, he's a great person. He's a good human being. That's why the locker room was so good with him being there, because they liked him as a person. But at the end of the day, the 4-2 in the playoffs was not Jimmy Garoppolo outside of the 2 L's that we took, because what he did was put himself in a position to ride the defense, ride the special teams, and ride the running game through to wins in those games. That's the thing. It's people seem to think that he's doing something magical, and everybody out there, oh, he just wins. Do you ever look at how the wins come? Do you ever look at the stats? Do you look at the numbers? Do you look at the figures? Do you really see that he was the key factor in those wins? Or do you look and go, hey, man, there's some discrepancies. I'll give you a prime example. Let's go back to 2019 in the Saints game. He threw that ball to George Kittle almost to the ground. If Kittle doesn't take that ball downfield and have 3 players jumping all over him, which he probably could have carried to the end zone because the man is a monster, and get that face mask, we don't win that game. If Emmanuel Sanders doesn't throw that touchdown to Raheem Mostert, we don't win that game. Anybody ever think of that? No. We just gave Jimmy all the credit, didn't we? Nobody looked at the whole picture, and that's the problem that I have. People give him credit for things that he doesn't do. And there are times, yes, where he has helped us win games. I'm not going to say that they're not. I just feel he's a mediocre quarterback, and we just paid a mediocre quarterback $6.5 million. We basically did the work for another team. We restructured already for you when we shouldn't have done that. At the end of the day, you should have looked and said, hey, man, we appreciate your time. We appreciate your service. You can go. Give him his little $1 to $2 million and let him be. But no, you re-sign him, and everybody is thinking this is a great insurance policy. You know what that does? It creates a rift in the locker room, because if you put them on that field and they win a few games, what are they going to start saying? We might as well stick with Jimmy. What are the Jimmy stands going to do? See, he just wins. You got to keep him in there. Don't put the kid in. He's not ready. Give Jimmy another 5-year contract.
No. I think this organization does not make decisions based on the fans. The fans, short for fanatic, they will react.
No, they do not. I agree.
Yeah. So the Twitter sphere and all the 49er fans on there, more power to you. You have your voice, but it doesn't really matter when it comes to the Niners brass. One question I would ask you: with Jimmy G on the roster, is he one of the 53 best players on the roster?
No, he's one of
the. So Purdy and Sudfeld are better than Jimmy.
No, they're not. They're not better than him. But the thing is, the biggest problem is you're hindering Trey Lance by keeping him around. What people don't understand. Go ahead.
And that's a great point, and I definitely want to address that. But let me first say we have NYC in the building. We have David McNew in the building. Got to say, what's good? Appreciate everyone tuning in to the stream tonight. I will definitely get into more of the chat comments and questions and things like that. But make sure you guys follow. Make sure you guys follow Dion here. I have all his social media. Facebook, IG, Twitter, YouTube, all that is in the description of this live stream. Make sure you follow him. And I know he greatly appreciates that. And if you guys are enjoying the stream, feel free to hit that thumbs up button and make sure you subscribe. But that's a great point. Does Jimmy G being on this roster affect Trey Lance negatively? You know, that is something interesting. I look at it as this is adversity for Trey Lance. And in order to be the best of the best at your craft, you're going to have to fight through adversity. This is not Marshall High School. This is not NDSU. This is the pros, and he hasn't established himself yet at the quarterback position. I just hope that Kyle Shanahan gives him the opportunity to do that. That's at least what he says, because Trey Lance is still the starter. So I don't think anything has changed outside of everyone talking about it. Oh, this is as soon as Trey throws a pick. Oh, Jimmy wouldn't do that, which we know he would, right? So all that, if you wipe out that noise, if you don't listen to that, I feel this is a solid move. And I don't think Excuse me. I don't think Jimmy G. I don't think Jimmy G being on this roster will affect Trey Lance. I think he'll overcome the adversity, and people don't think, well, maybe Jimmy can help Trey. Jimmy's been in difficult situations. Jimmy's been a starter when hell the team drafted his replacement, and he still had to fight through that adversity. And yeah, it's a little bit different. Jimmy's an 8-year vet, but it's similar. And we know Jimmy is a professional. We know that Jimmy's not going to try to ruin the locker room. He's not going to try to cause a rift in the locker room. I think Jimmy can be an asset to Trey, who's still a young quarterback. He's still learning. I think this is a good move. And if Trey Lance can't overcome Jimmy G behind him, then maybe he's not the guy. I think he's the guy. There's a reason why Kyle Shanahan and the Niners traded up to get him. He's very mature for his age. He's bright. He usually doesn't make the same mistakes on the field. So I don't think this will affect Trey Lance. I think the outside noise is louder than it really is, because it doesn't matter to the 49ers. They're doing what's best for the organization. And I think Jimmy G being a backup, obviously, in an ideal situation, it's not necessarily great for Trey because Jimmy's behind him, right? But if you take the feelings, emotions out of it, this is business, right? The Niners want to make sure, hey, the season's riding high. Kyle Shanahan only has 2 winning seasons out of the last 4 seasons. Like, it's not like, obviously he's had great success in the playoffs, or
that's his own fault, though. That's his own fault.
And right,
I'm not giving him a pass. That is his own fault.
And that's fair. And that's fair. But I think also they want to bring in someone, a veteran presence in this locker room, who knows everyone, who they can rely on in a pinch if they need to. I think this move clearly shows that that Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch are not comfortable with Purdy and Sudfeld as their backups. I don't think this really says anything about Trey. I don't personally. So by this move, do you think the Niners feel not as confident about Trey Lance? Do you think that's what this move means, or are you still?
I don't think it's that they don't have any confidence in Trey Lance, or that they feel that he's not ready to be the starter, because they've been very steadfast in the fact that they're stating that he is the starter. This is his team. Everyone, what's going on, Shifty? That this is his team, and they're not coming off of that. They were standing, they're standing pat in that, saying, hey, we are going to the season. Trey Lance is the starter. But my thing with the issue that I have with Jimmy being here, I don't feel he can help Trey Lance. What is he going to help him do? Not see linebackers, throw interceptions at the worst dang moment? I don't feel like he's going to help him in any way. I respect what Trey did, and he said, him and Jimmy are good friends, all of that stuff. But the issue for me is you're taking the focus off me. I'm the guy. I'm number one now. So when I get up here, you need to ask me about me. You don't need to ask me about Jimmy. I don't want to hear about him. He's the past. I'm the future. I'm the present and the future. But that's what's going to happen. They're going to get up there. How do you feel about Jimmy being here? Would Jimmy be better suited as a starter? Are you guys still friends? Like, all of these questions are stupid questions that are wasted, because you could be asking us better questions about football.
Right.
Like, it's like Colin Kaepernick getting signed to a team. They'd come to him and say, hey, you still thinking about kneeling? Why don't you ask Colin about football? He's been out of it for several years now. You think he really wants to talk about kneeling? He doesn't care about that anymore. He made his point. So for me, I don't think that Jimmy can really help Trey. The only thing that can help Trey is in-game reps. He has to continue to see things, because I'm sorry, if anybody is going to help my young quarterback see things through a different lens, I'd rather it be the quarterback's coach. I'm sorry. Jimmy didn't have the best of lenses when he was on the field. He made some pretty erratic throws, and he yelled the word F-U-C-K every time he threw an interception. Don't believe me? Catch him in slow-mo, and you'll see it. Though he has a short memory when it comes to those interceptions, they were still thrown. And you knew it was going to happen at some point. The other thing is, I don't feel that I don't understand why the organization did Jimmy a solid like this. Like, I get that Purdy and Sudfeld aren't the prettiest backups. And yes, you would definitely be in trouble if you had to have these guys start for more than about 2 to 3 games. But why give Brock Purdy? Why give Nate Sudfeld that guaranteed money if you're only going to keep Jimmy? Why even waste your time doing all of this throughout the offseason? Like, there's different avenues that you could have taken to be able to make this an easier transition into Trey Lance. Like, all offseason, all of that praise, you didn't need to do that. For what? Because what were you doing? You were trying to sell. You were basically trying to sell other teams a dream that they knew was actually a nightmare. You were trying to pump him up and make everybody believe that he's this great quarterback and all he does is win. But everybody knew the truth because nobody called. This is what I will say. If you're in that type of situation, you can be very polite about it. You don't have to pump him up. You can say very simply at that point, after he had the surgery, when Jimmy is healthy, we will make the best move for Jimmy and the best move for the organization. That's all you have to say. But no, Jimmy's a great quarterback. We're not going to cut him. We love Jimmy. He's the greatest. Oh, my God, Jimmy. Like, why are we doing that when nobody bought it? And you're still doing it to this day. So explain to me how that helped when we had to restructure his contract and basically do the work for other teams. And now we're hoping and praying somebody gives us a call. And then if they don't give us a call, what are we doing? Giving $6.5 million to somebody to sit on the bench and do nothing? We already got to pay D Ford. We already still got to pay Weston Richburg. We got a bunch of people that we still have to pay that are not on this team contributing in any way, shape, or form. And now we got another dude that we just what is January doing? You just like paying people who do nothing for you.
You mentioned Sudfeld, and you mentioned that Sudfeld was guaranteed $2 million to be a backup. I think the 49ers had every intention to trade Jimmy G this offseason. But as you mentioned before, Jimmy G decided to get the shoulder surgery. I'm never going to say that I'm never going to say that a player purposely, got surgery when he didn't need it. I would never say that about a player, but I would say that the 49ers had every intention on dealing Jimmy this offseason. But there were some teams that were interested, but how can you trade for a quarterback who can't even really throw because of the shoulder surgery? But I think getting Jimmy at $6 million compared to 27 is a steal. And I think as I mentioned before, as fans, we have the Jimmy fatigue, but Shanahan trusts Jimmy to a certain extent. If Shanahan didn't trust Jimmy, he wouldn't be on this roster. Just like as fans, we didn't like when Tom Compton was back there. We were like, well, why do you have Tom Compton? Why do you? Because he's a crafty vet who knows the system. He plays up to the best of his ability. He's never going to be a superstar, but he's solid and the team can depend on him. And I think that's what this is with Jimmy G. Gotta say, hot diggity dog to Blue True. Appreciate that $5 super chat. Blue True says, I think with this move for the 49ers, they get to have their cake and eat it too. A win-win for the franchise. And I would say it, you have Trey Lance starting. We all think that he is the present and the future of this franchise. And then you have a little bit of insurance with Jimmy G. And I think Jimmy G at $6 million is much better than what Sudfeld at $2 million and what Brock Purdy can give you. So I think it is a win-win for this franchise. Do I love the move? I mean, as you mentioned before, you would love to hand off this franchise to Trey Lance where he doesn't have to worry about someone behind his back. There's no doubt about that. But this is the pros. This isn't college. This is professional sports. Guys' jobs are on the line. They're going to try to stack the deck to put the best 53-man roster on the field. And I think that's what this move means for the 49ers. I'm going to roll through some of these comments real quick. I'm a little behind. Let's see. Let me catch up to where I was. I think Rick Diaz left a comment Let me get that up on the screen. What's good? Appreciate you coming through to the screen, to the stream, Rick. He says, I agree with you, my friend. Listen to the comments, please. See, I agree with you. That's what they're going to say. I agree with you. Talking about Jimmy. So what's next? Let's move on with Trey, I believe you're referring to. Also have Brandon in the building from the 49er Faithful podcast. Thanks for tuning in. What's good? Appreciate everyone tuning into the stream. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button. Is there anything else you would like to say in regards to Jimmy G returning back to the 49ers? Is there anything else you want to add? I think you might be on mute. Okay.
There we go.
There we go.
I just hope that he's traded very soon. While a lot of people feel like this was a good move, I honestly feel like this was a stupid move. I don't like it at all. My issue with John and Kyle is they do stuff like this, man. Like, and I know that they don't care how we as fans feel, but at the end of the day, we pay your bills, man. If ain't nobody in that stadium, what's the point in you playing? Outside of it being COVID, there's no other reason that stadium should be empty. And I'm not saying that there are going to be fans that would actually wind up leaving the franchise as a fan, because I'm not going to stop loving the team. My thing is, I don't want to waste time with a mediocre quarterback who does nothing for us. And I'm not of the ilk of paying anybody $6.5 million to do nothing. I am so sorry. First of all, you wouldn't have got no guaranteed money. Second of all, I'm not giving you a no trade clause. Are you serious? The crappiest team come calling for you. Whatever they willing to offer, I'm listening and I'm taking it. There's no reason for me to give you you need no leverage. You get no leverage. None. Why would I give you any leverage? After what you did to me after the season to tank your trade value? Come on, man. No, I have no reason to believe such. I'm not giving you anything.
I like what NYCE says here. He says, I think this works for both sides. Trey can learn from Jimmy on how to throw those mid-range passes, which he struggles with. I think with accuracy, yeah. I don't know necessarily Jimmy can help him with that, because I think accuracy, it kind of goes. I think the more he's in, the more reps he has. I think the more accurate he'll get.
The only thing that helps Trey Lance right now is reps, in-game reps, playing against other teams, seeing different fronts. And the beauty is he has this great defense to go against in practice. So if he can be able to start beating this defense in practice, then we'll be fine. One thing that I want people to take a chill pill on, this is no Prime Sports, and I'm 100% sure that was sarcasm, and I like it, but that definitely is not happening. We all know that. The thing is like when you look at Trey Lance as a whole, he's never played with the true starting offensive line,
right? Not
once. Trent Williams has never been out there fully. So like it's an issue of him not having the time to be able to develop properly because you're not giving him that. See, every other quarterback throughout training camp has been playing with their starting offensive line. Yeah. These are the guys that are going to be in front of you. You know this. You built a rapport. That's it. Trey has literally had people shuffled in front of him all off season and had to make do with whatever he could. So while there are some people going, oh, well, look, he threw picks. Oh, well, he did this in practice. Oh, well, he did that. First of all, defense knows what you're doing. Second of all, you put a makeshift offensive line and you keep rotating people in and out in front of the kid. So what do you expect? The only thing, I like that comment, David. Yeah, we'll put him 53rd. But and technically it's 56. So my thing is, the last thing I'll say as far as this situation is, I hate the move. I don't like it at all. I don't like it for the kid's psyche because you can have a mental stability thing where you're looking over your shoulder. And it goes back to what I said earlier. Like, if I don't start playing well, is the locker room still going to have my back the way they had his back? Because he was screwing up. There were lots of times Jimmy lost us games. And he went up to that podium and had the nerve to blame the team when we knew it was his fault. But when we lost that game against Arizona, what did Trey say? I have to be better. This is on me. We don't get that from Jimmy Garoppolo. He don't know how to say that. All he knows is, It's a tough one. Yeah, all these facial expressions, bro. Take ownership. That's what you have to do in life, in the job, in anything. You need to start holding yourself accountable. I screwed up when I threw that interception. This game is on me. You know what I'm saying?
That definitely is one aspect of Jimmy G's character or whatever that it definitely should improve, but we're not really asking him to do that. I think that's what you ask for of a franchise quarterback, and we know Jimmy G is not the franchise quarterback of this roster. He is the backup, and we're every backup in the NFL gets paid, so he's got to make a certain type of salary. And I think
but $6.5 million, he ain't worth that. Not when we trying to get rid of him. That don't make sense.
Is he the best backup quarterback in the NFL?
Unfortunately. Unfortunately.
Well, I mean, $6.5 million to $1 billion franchise. I mean, it's peanuts, and we're still under the salary cap. We should have a lot more money in the salary cap.
I'll tell you this: the rich stay rich by being frugal, not by wasting money. So if you want to stay rich, Jed, don't give worthless quarterbacks that do nothing for you, that are going to do nothing for you this year, $6.5 million. I wouldn't have agreed to that. I'd have been like, look, man, let him take like $2-3 million. That's about all I got. If he don't want that, and him and Donnie can go out there and, go to Seattle and hang out with them.
I think Shanahan values him more than that. Because, I mean,
Sudfeld
got $2 million, and he hasn't had the career that Jimmy had. Yeah, he's done nothing. So if Sudfeld gets 2 to back up, I think that's reasonable for Jimmy to get 6. I mean, it's not like Jimmy saying, no, I still want 20 or I still want 24. Now, if they would have brought in Jimmy back making the same amount, $27 million as a backup, then I would be up in arms as well. But, hey, $6.5 million, I think it's a solid move. We'll see how it goes on. I don't like that it's a distraction, and hopefully the players, that'll be interesting to see what the players feel about this move. They're obviously going to say the right things to the media. We know how Brandon Ayuk feels. He's hoping that Trey Lance is in there every game of the season. We know that.
And I'm your Brandon Ayuk. I'm your milk dud. Okay. I ain't now. You know what? I can't say I'm a milk dud. I got to be like a little caramel drop or something. Because I'm super light skinned, and that's just what people call me. Sometimes it is what it is.
But it is what it is.
I honestly just feel like you could have destroyed the distractions and truthfully gave the reins to the kid free and clear of anything rather than leaving this here, because what this does is it creates a distraction in the media. And what people though Trey is very smart, his father taught him very well how to deal with adversity, he's still a kid. And I'm going to tell you right now, at 22, I could tell you something didn't bother me, and I guarantee you it probably did.
Right.
So we're hoping that his maturity level allows him to say, you know what? No one cares this little chump is making $6.5 million. I'm going to go out here and destroy the league. Right. And hopefully they get rid of him before he even, is here. Like I said, my number one thing is I don't want it. God forbid anything happen to Trey and he has to play and he wins a game. I don't need that. I don't. Because in the locker room starts to shift. Hey, man, he won. We were winning with him before. Come on, coach. Like, that to me is a slap in the face to Trey Lance. If I'm Trey Lance and that happens to me, I want out. I don't want to be here. Why? Because you went ahead and ran with this fool. You traded everything. You traded your future to come and get me. And the minute I got injured or the minute I wasn't playing well, you put this loser back in. And because the team carried him, now y'all want to roll with him, but then I have to sit on the bench? No, man, get me up out of here, bro. I'll go somewhere else. I ain't got time for this. I don't want to sit here and play with a franchise that don't want me.
I hope that won't happen, and I don't think it will.
I hope not.
Because Jimmy's on a one-year deal. The 49ers can't franchise tag him next year. He's got the no trade clause. But I think he's going to be a free agent next year. And in the best case scenario, this won't affect Trey. Maybe this will light an additional fire under Trey that I think he already has. I already think he has the moxie. I already think he has the fire and drive to be one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Maybe this will help elevate him to that. And as far as the distraction, I think it's more fans. Yeah, the media, they want the clicks, and they have to write their papers, whatever. In the locker room, though, I think guys are mature enough. This is a profession. This team has moved on from Jimmy as the starter. And I think that's the most important thing. Guys understand that. And, hey, if Trey's healthy, I think he'll be out there. I don't think and if Trey does get hurt when he's healthy, let's say he misses 2 games, Jimmy comes in, the team is 1-1, 2-0, 0-2. I don't think it would matter. I think Trey would still be brought in as the starter because I think they moved on from Jimmy to be the starter of this team. And I don't think one thing we didn't really talk about, I don't think Jimmy can run this offense better than Trey. So I don't think it would really be in the Niners' best benefit to have a healthy Trey sit on the sideline and Jimmy starting games. I know you agree with that, right?
I don't believe he could run the playbook that's set up for Lance. Okay. But remember, his playbook still exists. So if you bring him in, you're not running what you're running with Lance. You're looking at them going, hey, man, we just going to run the old stuff. We'll go back to that. And I know and see, I understand for everybody watching, I understand that Kyle doesn't care what fans think. I get that. I wholeheartedly understand it. But my thing is, at a bare minimum, man, stop tormenting us with this crap. Just stop. Let us be as fans. Even if you don't care about the team, if you want to do whatever with the team, is fine. But let us be as fans. Give me some reprieve. I am, just like you said, there's 10 fatigue, and I am over fatigue. I just want this to be out. I just want him to be gone. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. If he wakes up, because the thing is, he wake up tomorrow, break a foot. Now we just gave $6.5 million to somebody who wasn't worth that money. So you gave $6.5 million to a dude who gets injured very often. What happens if he walks down the street and gets injured? Well, now we just got to give $6.5 million, a waste of money, to nobody. Why? Because he can't play. So now backup plans out the door. We're back to Sudfeld and Purdy. We're back to square one. So when I'm looking at it, it's not clicking for me while it clicks for other people. And I don't see any pros in this. I only see cons. There's nothing positive. I would rather him go to another team, continue his career, and keep pushing. I look at Jimmy G the same way I look at Kirk Cousins. 2 guys who are good quarterbacks, but will never win a Super Bowl. Neither of them will. Kirk ain't winning nothing in Minnesota. He been there all that time. Still ain't won nothing. Jimmy was here, overthrew Emmanuel Sanders. That was your only shot. Screw that up. These are just things that are inevitable. And, earlier when you were saying that Kyle only had 2 winning seasons. Nah, man, don't give me that every QB has those moments. I'm sorry, I don't agree with that. The reason I'll say that every QB doesn't have those moments is because Tom Brady has 7 rings. Nothing stopped him from getting to his rings. He was with the Patriots. Yes, it was a first-class organization. Yes, they had a good defense. But Tom Brady ain't never have no great receivers. He had Randy Moss, and he still didn't get the Super Bowl ring when he had Randy Moss. Tom Brady has done more with makeshift receivers than I've ever seen anybody do in this league. So that's what I'm saying. I'm not going to give those quarterbacks a pass because everybody else bigs them up as if they're elite or they're great, and they're not. People love Kirk Cousins. They think, oh, man, he's awesome. Kirk Cousins continues to get paid, and I am not knocking his hustle. Get your money. As long as Minnesota's willing to dole out that cash, baby, get every dime you can get. But you're not getting a ring with Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
And if you don't believe me, look at the past couple of years. He hasn't even sniffed the NFC Championship game. He can barely get past the wild card round. He's not winning you a Super Bowl. Jimmy, not winning you a Super Bowl. I'm not giving a pass when you're getting paid big bucks to go get me a ring. And you're not doing it. And I don't foresee it in the future. So I can't agree with that. I respect your opinion, but I have to respectfully disagree. I'm not going to give every quarterback that pass. It just doesn't work like that for me.
No, I agree. I agree to a certain extent. David McNew, I think this is the headline of 49ers Twitter right now. He says the 49er empire is burning and Lynch has a fire truck full of gas and is spraying.
Yes. Facts, Dave.
Facts. Yeah, Twitter is off the chain tonight, man.
It's insane in there, man. I try to stay away from it because it becomes a
you can't win the argument. It's just I scroll past it. I try not to read it because fans. Hey, short for fanatic. You're gonna react emotionally and not just look at the facts.
Don't go into a space. It's just over.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I mean, Jimmy G he's not the franchise quarterback of this team. We've established that. Is he better than Sudfeld and Purdy? I think most people can agree with that. So I think the 49ers, they don't pay him the $27 million, but they still get the same quarterback at a third of the price. So from the 49ers standpoint, this is a win-win for them. But I can also understand where fans say we're tired of Jimmy, the Jimmy fatigue is real. So I definitely understand that angle as well. So let's talk about, we got about 15 more minutes. Let's talk a little bit about some other news in the NFL. We know that safety Jaquiski Tartt, he played with the 49ers for multiple years, had a pretty good career with the Niners. He was not re-signed this offseason. The Philadelphia Eagles picked him up, but he was just released by the Eagles today. And we know that the 49ers have injuries with Jimmy Ward. He's going to be out the first month of the year due to that hamstring injury. We know that Huff, this will be his first year starting. He's young in his role. There's not a lot of depth in that safety spot in the secondary. Do you think the Niners should go after Jaquiski Tartt?
If they do go after him, it's only due to familiarity with the defense and everything like that. And that would be okay. And I don't think he would be opposed to coming back. The issue is he plays Huff's position. So that's the reason why we were okay with moving on, because we thought Hufanga took a big enough step to be able to secure that position and hold it down. Could we bring him in and have him play Ward's position until Ward gets back? Maybe. Yeah. Personally, I say leave it alone. He is unfortunately a little bit injury prone. Yeah. And it's kind of hard to keep a guy who can't stay on the field, and it just doesn't make sense. Just roll with the guys that we have. I think if you put Huff and Tarvarius Moore back there, you'll be fine. Let Huff do the reading and intercepting and, the hard hitting, and just make sure Ward, takes care of anything over the top, because he has the speed to be able to do it, even coming off an Achilles injury. But that's what I would say.
Don't line up Moore and man-to-man coverage with no help over the top. Yeah, don't want to do that.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. That's a disaster waiting to happen.
I mean, when you look at it, you got Huff. We signed George Odom, who's a special teams ace. He could start there opposite of Huff. Travarius Moore could start. We also picked up Tashawn Gibson. He didn't really look good against the Texans, but maybe he's not in football shape or whatever. So the Niners do have options there. I won't be surprised if the Niners give Jaquiski Tartt a call and maybe bring him in for a workout. And, I won't be surprised by that. And if we do bring him back, if we bring him back, I won't be mad at that. I mean, we want to have as much experience. That's the thing about this secondary right now. Without Jimmy Ward, we don't have a lot of experience in the safeties. Huff is, second year. First year, he'll be the potential starter. Travarius Moore is coming off an Achilles injury. George Odom, I mean, he played safety, but he was more a special teams guy, and I think that's one of the main reasons we brought him on the 49ers. I think Quantrez Hawkins, he's a UDFA.
Quantrez Knight.
Quantrez Knight, okay. Quantrez Knight. He doesn't have, obviously the experience.
He doesn't have enough experience.
Exactly. So you don't want the blind leading the blind, right? So I think their best bet might be to have Tashawn Gibson be there opposite of Huff. I mean,
Gibson
though he's a little long in the tooth.
He's familiar with the system, and he was a Pro Bowler back there when Jacksonville was out there balling. So, I mean, can he return to form? There's a possibility of such. So I can agree with that. But I think, if they brought back Tart, I'm not gonna be mad at that. Nah,
Yeah.
I'm cool with it. Like, I know he gets injured, but at the end of the day, man, he did some good things for us. The one thing that I love and respect him for is he owned that dropped interception immediately. He owned it, and after that, after that I was like, you know what? I get it. Hey, man, drop an interception. Shit happens.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to catch all of them. And plus, at the same time, what people don't realize is, though the ball is coming to him, he's going away. So he's going backwards. So now I have to extend my arms and fall backwards and hope and pray that I can get to him.
Yeah.
So some people just looked at it like, oh, man, he dropped another one. It's like, now you got to look at the whole play to understand what really happened.
No, absolutely. And like you said, at least he took accountability for that.
100%.
And we still we're about 12 or 13 days away from week 1. So I won't be surprised if the 49ers, possibly bring in Jaquiski Tartt, or, hey, maybe they decide to go with Tayshaun, with a mix of Tayshaun and Tavarius. That could be an option. The NFL player rankings came out, the top 100. The 49ers had 7 players who came in. So there was Juice, there was Kittle, Trent Williams, Debo, Fred Warner, Nick Bosa, and I think there was one more player that I'm missing. Did I say Debo? Yeah, I said Debo. But
I know it. Trent was like 14.
14, and Debo was 19.
Was after that at 19. Fitting. He wears 19.
Yeah, I know, right?
We had Nick Bosa at 25. I believe the next player was
Fred Warner.
Fred Warner.
Yep.
Then who else was it?
Jimmy Ward. That's what we missed.
Jimmy Ward. And Juice.
Yeah.
Juice. Yeah, Jimmy Ward and Juice.
Do you think Trent Williams and Debo, do you think they were, you think they should have been ranked higher? You think they should have at least been in the top 10?
This is what I would say about the top 100. I think that those rankings are true based off of the fact that it comes from the players. So I respect their opinions because these are your peers ranking you. It's not a bunch of writers that never played football or probably had dreams and aspirations and lived vicariously through people. It's actual players saying, hey, man, this guy has talent and it needs to be recognized.
Yeah.
So I usually don't really gripe too much. I do think Debo could have been a little bit higher. And I honestly think Trent should have been at a minimum in the top 10. Honestly, I really think he should have been in the top 10 at a bare minimum. But, hey, we had 7 players. Lots of teams can't say that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And for me, giving Tom Brady number 1 is just so lackluster. Like, okay, bro, like, we get it. Yeah, he's the GOAT. He's got 7 rings. No one cares anymore. Like, we know already. Can we move on to somebody else? Can you give us another person? Like, putting him at number 1 was kind of obvious.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no doubt. Yeah, I mean, he's definitely earned that. I mean, he's you could either put him, you could put Rodgers. Now here's the top.
No, you cannot put Rodgers. No, you can't. No,
you can't put Rodgers because he hasn't won the big one.
Put Rodgers in there because Rodgers can't beat the Niners in the playoffs, baby. He can't beat us. We kill his dreams every single year.
That's funny.
Every year he comes in and what happens? He goes to the playoffs and we find a way to beat him. If it ain't Raheem Mostert running over your whole dang franchise to get us to the plate, to get us to the Super Bowl, then it's us beating you in the Snow Bowl, which you should have won because we were in your house. Us beating you in the Snow Bowl based off of a special teams play. Like, he can't win against us. But what was this, Travis Kelce?
Yeah, so I was going to run down the top 10 players real quick. But I got to say, what's good? Platform 246, man. How you doing tonight? Hope all is well. We had a great stream last night, man. Thanks for coming in.
I actually caught that. I caught that earlier today. Y'all helped me get through work. I appreciate both of you.
Hey, no worries, man. Glad we can do that because I listen to other YouTubers as well when I'm at work too, man. It makes you take your mind off work a little bit. Hear some 49er football. But I got to say, what's good to Libby's World? Go, Jimmy. Go, go, go. What's good? Appreciate that, Libby's World. But I wanted to run down the top 10 real quick. Of players. So they had, Travis Kelce at 10. At 9, you had Jalen Ramsey. Okay.
Respect.
8, you had Pat Mahomes. All right.
Respect.
7, you had Devontae Adams. He's a beast.
Oh, big respect.
6, you had TJ Watt. Hey, he pretty
Respect.
good. You had
Respect.
the best running back, the highest rated running back was Jonathan Taylor.
Hey, that man is a monster.
Yeah. 4, you had Cooper Kupp.
Hey, you know what? Let me tell you something. I appreciate the players finally respected Cooper Kupp.
Yeah.
I'll say this, and this isn't a hot take because it's been said before on television. If Cooper Kupp were black, he'd have been number 1.
I mean, he
Cooper
wasn't even the top 100 player last year. So to go
Thank
from
you. And he bowled last year.
Yeah.
Cooper Kupp was one of the coldest wide receivers I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
And though we shouldn't really be using race as a situation, the league is about 70 to 80% black.
Yeah.
And most of the big time players are African American. Yeah. Cooper Kupp, on the other hand, is white, and he shows up and shows out every single game. I respect him and I respect his game. He deserves that number 4. He's a baller.
Absolutely, man. You said it. I can't say it better than you.
And it's hard for me to talk about Rams players like that. You know, it is. But I respect greatness.
But that's the true respect. Exactly. You respect greatness when you see it. That's the true respect.
Yeah, we can skip past this guy. He's too busy jumping off cliffs and stuff.
Aaron Donald, number 2. He's also a great Rams player. You know,
until he meets his daddy, aka Daniel Brunskill.
Daniel Brunskill. Hopefully, he'll be active and ready to go. You know, by the time we play the Rams. So, but that's the top 10. I think you could make an argument for Debo because Debo and Cooper Kupp were neck and neck as far as the top receivers in the NFL statistically last year. So I think you could make a case for Debo. And also Trent, he was the highest rated PFF player last year. So, but as you said, this is a poll of players. So it's not PFF, it's not NFL writers, it's just NFL players. So, it's always good to get respected by your peers. NYCE says, so why the hell is Aaron Rodgers still getting paid? LOL, because he can't win the big one. Jimmy's willing to do whatever it takes to win, even if his stats aren't great. Not many quarterbacks will do that.
Well, I don't understand what you mean by Jimmy's doing whatever it takes to win. He doesn't do whatever it takes to win. Jimmy does what he's told. He made that very clear in a press conference. I believe it was either 2019 or maybe this year. He goes out there and runs the plays that are called. A great quarterback knows when to audible, knows when to make moves, knows when to go ahead and do things. I mean, let me say this. I don't want people to think that I'm going to discount what he did. He did a few things, but he never did enough. Yeah. It wasn't good enough. And I'm sorry. If you have a quarterback that you're trying to get rid of year after year after year, I don't understand why you re-sign him and give him $6.5 million. I don't understand why he's still here in the first place. Think about it. I'm shopping you consistently. Tom Brady came to me and said, hey, I want to play for my hometown team. I was a Joe Montana guy. I loved this team. And we said no. We called Matt LaFleur and said, hey, look, man, we homies. Let's talk on the homie level, man. Let me get Aaron Rodgers up out of you. Click. Matt, did he hang up on me? Oh, man. Maybe he lost reception. But you're shopping him year in and year out. So you're telling me that Jimmy's willing to do whatever it takes? Let's go back to New England. He wasn't willing to do whatever it takes when he decided not to play on game day.
Hey, maybe he woke up, he wasn't feeling the way he felt during that week, man. Maybe that's what had happened.
You know how you, as a football player, your body tells you what you can and cannot do. It keeps you prepared. Your body will let you know if you can do this or not do this. And you definitely don't do that on game day.
That did happen in New England with the 49ers, though. I don't think we can question, at least not in my mind. I don't think I'm not questioning Jimmy G's toughness.
They forced him out there. I don't think they felt comfortable enough with Trey at that time. and they forced him out there.
You talking about
Because
the
let me tell you this.
playoff game?
Yeah. He
Yeah.
said straight up, he said, when I throw the ball, it hurts like a mother.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like he purposely said straight up, like, hey, man, this is painful for me to do this. But they forced him out there because they probably didn't feel comfortable enough with Trey. But I don't give him a moniker that he's this do-it-all guy and he'll do whatever it takes, because that's not the case. If you were a do-it-all guy and you were a do-whatever-it-takes guy, you would have made the right throw. You would have just taken the sack, called timeout, and said, you know what? I know I don't throw deep, but Lord, don't fail me now. I got to throw a bomb to get us out of this jam and get us down the field. No, you get sacked and try to flip the ball to Jermichael Hasty. There's an interception that seals the game. That's the last play that I saw from you. Like, there's things that he does not do that don't give me any option to say that he'll do whatever it takes. Plus, you don't even take credit for the losses that you create. You literally go up there and just say it's the team, win or lose. Now, win, that looks nice. But losses, every now and then, you got to take an L, and you got to own that. If you don't do that, you wind up looking bad. And for me, I'm out on Jimmy G. I want him gone. I'll be glad when he's gone. And I hope that I wake up tomorrow and the 49ers have restructured his deal again down to $1.5 million, and then they cut him and he leaves.
Hey, I don't think that's going to happen. But, hey, man, I respect your opinion. And I totally understand the Jimmy fatigue for fans that wish he wasn't on the roster. I get it. I respect it. I'm able to look at both sides and understand why both sides feel the way they do. So I definitely understand that. Let me get you out of here with this. We saw the 49ers play in 3 preseason games. What position group on this team is most concerning to you heading into week 1?
O-line. There's no continuity built. I'm sorry. What they should have been doing all offseason is going through with having that line gel. Make Trent practice. Make Mike McGlinchey practice. Whatever O-line you're going to have starting, put them together. But this inconsistency and shuffling guys to see what you got with this dude because you feel comfortable that this guy knows what he's doing, like, at the end of the day, they still have to gel. Yeah. You could put 5 superstar NBA players on one team, and I guarantee you they could still lose a lot of games. Don't believe me? Look at what happened with the Miami Heat. Did they win right off the bat when D-Wade, Chris Bosh, and LeBron were there? Nope.
Took
they
time.
Lost a couple of times.
Yeah.
You have to gel. So that's where I'm scared.
You're absolutely right. Yeah, you're absolutely right about this offensive line. We got to remember, like last year, we had Pro Bowl guard Laken Tomlinson, probably one of the most underrated offensive linemen we've had on this roster under the Lynch regime. You had Alex Mack at center, you had Brunskill at right guard, and now we go to 3 guys who basically have no experience starting multiple games. So I think it will take time. If the starting offensive line outside of the tackles is Banks, Brindle, and Burford, I mean, there's going to be some ups and downs. There's going to be growing pains. That's what we expect. And I think the same goes with Trey Lance. But I
call them the triple Bs.
The triple Bs.
Burford,
I like that. I like
Banks,
that.
Burford, and Brindle. I call them the triple Bs.
I like that.
Nobody can use this. I'm gonna copyright this. Womack. Okay, if y'all now look, I'm gonna date myself because I'm 41. I may look young, but I'm 41. Okay. So y'all got to know a little something about Bobby Womack, all right?
Womack.
If you think you're lonely now, wait until Womack intercepts you. Telling you, boy, you're going to be doing a lot of that this season. Samuel Womack has been the greatest surprise of this offseason.
Absolutely. Another great 5th-round pick by this Niners team, man.
I love every second of watching him. And the beauty of his 2 interceptions, they were the interceptions you like to see.
Yeah.
I am not against anyone and how they get their interceptions, but you like to see contested INTs. He snatched the ball from the receiver. He ran the route, jumped it at the right time. The last game, he looked up, put his hand up at the right time to create an interception for someone else. These are things that you want from a nickelback, man. And he's not afraid to hit.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of it. Like, he'll go in there and tell you, I'm gonna rock your world. But the best hit of the preseason goes to Talanoa Hufanga, baby. Throw them teams up. Throw
Laid
them
that
teams up.
boom on him. He laid that boom
Hey,
on him. That was a welcome
you
to
remember
the NFL hit right there.
you remember the Avengers? You
Yeah.
remember when Thor was like, "You want me to put the hammer down?"
Yeah.
That's what they
Huff
asked.
did.
They said, "You want me to put the Huff in your box?" And they got all up in him, baby. Huff laid the hammer down. That was a
Absolutely.
fantastic hit, man. But Jay, I appreciate you, bro. I got to get you on my channel, man, so we can bring you through. You know what I'm saying? Thank you so much for even, thinking of me as a special guest. I appreciate you, my good brother. Continue once again. Same words, man. Continue to be great. Continue to be amazing. Let nothing stop you. I don't care what comments come through, what people say. You are doing amazing work. People out there love you, man.
Appreciate
Continue
that.
to keep growing the channel, my good brother. And and once again, man, let nothing stop you, man. I'm here to support you. Any chance I get, man. I'm always here to let everybody know. And the other thing is, man, we are literally the fan base that has the most content creators ever.
I know. There's
There's
30 to
no other
40.
fan base that has as many content creators as
Yeah.
us. I've tried looking.
Yeah.
There's
You can't find them anywhere else.
can't.
You can't. Hey, let the people know where they can find you and all your social media and what
Of
to
course.
expect from your YouTube channel, man.
Hey, man, 9ergang Podcast. That's the YouTube channel. You can catch me here. You can catch me on Spotify, Apple, all of the local podcasts. I am on Twitter at SwiftD, SWIFTDEE, 49er_Dion on Instagram. I don't do tons of stuff on IG, but I am there here and there. But more so, you'll catch me on Twitter. You'll catch me on YouTube. But definitely, man, check me out. I'll be keeping you posted all throughout the season. I am a little crazy with my takes, man. So I'm a little different. Some people are a little more mellow.
Hey, it's from the heart, man. It's from the heart. It's authentic.
Upbeat. Yeah, I'm a little more upbeat and eccentric, man. And I like people to understand, that I stand fast in my stances and I don't disrespect others as far as that goes. If you like a certain thing, hey, man, that's all you. I'm not about to tell you how to live your life.
Right.
I will respectfully disagree and tell you why I feel that way. But I'm not going to disrespect your opinion in a way that's going to make you feel, negative. Jay has a great channel. He continues to put out amazing content, man. And y'all better continue to Debo that like button, Will Smith that like button. You know what I'm saying? Every time he comes on, man, continue to support this young man. He's doing amazing work, and I got nothing but love for him.
Hey, I appreciate the kind words, man. Right back at you. I'm looking forward to when we link up again on your channel and back on mine again. We'll definitely link up again in the regular season because it's going to be, I think it's going to be a roller coaster type season. I think there will be some ups and downs with this offensive line, with the quarterback. How will Jimmy Ward not being there affect this defense? Well, I think it will a little bit, but man, week one can't come any sooner, man. But I'm glad we were able to link up. And make sure you guys go check out 9ergang Podcast on all his social media. All the links are in the description of this video. Man, you have a great rest of your night, man. Go Niners, man. Appreciate you for coming on.
You do the same, Jay. Peace.
Peace out, man. That was 9ergang Podcast, man. I'm looking forward to when we can link up again. But I think as far as the Jimmy G, I think it was I can understand the reasoning behind why the 49ers did what they did. I'll say that. I can definitely understand why. You got a solid backup quarterback. We know what Jimmy G can do, but as long as they are still all in on Trey and he will start when he's healthy, I think that at the end of the day, that's all that matters. And I think this will help fuel Trey Lance to be the best quarterback he can be. We have SG Sports Talk in the building. What's good? Scoozy, what's good? He says, understandable. I get tired of the media being like that. I have Tavarius. So this will be a worst case scenario, Tavarius. He says, get ready for a divided locker room, back-to-back losses, and should they go to Jimmy rumbling start? And I think that's more the fans and maybe the media. I don't think that's necessarily the players. We'll never really know what they feel. But even after losses, that doesn't mean you lose all hope in your quarterback. And I think they know Trey is a young guy. He's going to make some mistakes. There's going to be some growing pains. I think that's what's expected. NYCE, man, I appreciate the compliment. He says, awesome show, guys. All the best to you both and continue to be great. Go Niners. Great point, Scoozy. Save $20 million on the cap hit this year, man. And that money can be used for, hey, this year and possibly next year. But I appreciate everyone who tuned in to the stream tonight. Shout out to Blue True and 49ers Ultimate Report for the super chats. I appreciate that. Appreciate your contributions to the stream. Huge shout out if you watched on 9ergang Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. And yeah, I'm looking forward. I can't wait till week 1 comes and we fly down to Chi-Town on what you can expect from the 9ergang YouTube channel, the latest 49ers news, live streams like this, and also on game day, pre and post game live streams. So I appreciate all the support. Everyone have a great rest of your night. Go Niners.